Well, I mean, here's why practice was important to me. Not from just the standpoint that I enjoyed playing. Like, I enjoyed being there. I enjoyed getting better. But as a leader of a team, it's also your responsibility to elevate the rest of the guys. And what people tend to get stuck on a lot is saying, okay, the way to make players better is to pass them the ball when they're open. That's a very trivial way to look at things. What you have to do is you have to get them emotionally to want to be better. You have to get them to an emotional space where they wake up every morning driven to be the best version of themselves, right? And how do you do that? And in practice, for me, it was a chance to drive them, to challenge them, right? And this is where you have to know your teammates, because if it's late, we just had a back-to-back and we had practice the next day, and you show up and guys don't feel like going through the motions, don't feel like practicing. It's important to know each and every one of them individually, personally, because then you know what nerve to touch. Some guys, it's like, okay, come on, we can do this. That'll get them going. Other guys, no. You got to figure out what button to push. Powell was always Spain. If I tell them how they lost in a gold medal to us and how they're going to lose again, how I'm going to beat your ass in practice just like I beat you in a gold medal game, he would hate that. He'd hate that. But that's what practice was. You have to drive them. You absolutely have to. And if practice is more intense and harder than a Game 7 will be, then a Game 7 will be easy. But if it's not, then that's when teams start folding and capitulating.
Not Kobe Bryant. Here's what he had to say. I won't coach this team next year if he is still here. He won't listen to anyone. I've had it with this kid. Here's another excerpt. I sometimes think Kobe is so addicted to being in control that he would rather shoot the ball when guarded or even double team than dish it to an open teammate. He is saying to himself, how can I trust anybody else? Here's my question to you, Kobe. How many times have I asked you, how's things going with Phil Jackson? You got a smile on your face. You say everything's going well. I'm happy the fact that Phil is back. How can you be happy that that man is back?
You know what? Life is short, okay? And you can't go around life carrying baggage. You can't go around life carrying resentment. You just can't do it. It's too short. You know what I mean? So you have to forgive and move on. And he's come here to help us get back to the top. He's come here to coach me and to support me, and he's communicated that to me. So who am I to judge somebody to not forgive him and to move on?
Give him a round of applause. And the reason I say that, and the reason I say you deserve a round of applause, because that would have been hard for me to have that kind of attitude. I would have forgave him eventually, not as quick as you did, because I'm thinking,
take your time, enjoy life. It's life is too short to get bogged down and be discouraged, or you have to keep moving. You have to keep going. Put one foot in front of the other, smile, and just keep on rolling. And that's what really this camp is about.
Imagine you wake up at 3, you train at 4, you go 4 to 6, come home, breakfast, relax, blah, blah, blah. Now you're back at it again, 9 to 11, right? You relax, and now all of a sudden you're back at it again, 2 to 4, and now you're back at it again, 7 to 9. Look how much more training I have done by simply starting at 4, right? And so now you do that, and as the years go on, the separation that you have with your competitors and your peers just grows larger and larger and larger and larger and larger. And by year 5 or 6, doesn't matter what kind of work they do in the summer, they're never going to catch up.
Are there more investments coming?
Well, it's more building out the internal structure. And so I don't even know. We haven't made any formal announcement. I'm sure we won't. Andrea Fairchild, who I hired, who was recently at Gatorade, is now coming and helping me build Kobe Inc. and running Kobe Inc. And we're just cranking away every day, building out the internal structure of what the company's to be and how can we communicate the culture internally. Where are we going? Building out that model, that plan. And so that's really what we're focused on.
Stuff like, you need a headquarters. You need to. I assume you need to hire people. All those things when you're starting up a business.
Right, but we also don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Like, Andrew's the one that really keeps things lined up and dotted. I have this idea and this vision of where I'd like us to go, and now it's important for us to go one step at a time and not get too far ahead.
Could you maybe want to put the marketing skills you've learned to work for others, be a marketing advisor, maybe even to other athletes?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, but it's for me, doing that, it seems like I should really just do that for free, because what I'm going to tell them is be yourself. That's it. Be you. Be you. There's no gimmick. You don't have to contrive anything. Who are you? Where are you today? What is your story? Where does that come from? Right? And then all you're doing is not communicating the story to the public.
I mean, I'm sure you've learned a lot about that in the context of all the endorsement deals you've had through your career. Some of them are amazing, some of them maybe less so.
Right.
I mean, what have you learned from going through that process, the endorsement process?
Yeah, well, you learn a lot. I mean, I've seen so many different sides of that spectrum. You know, those who are the best in the world at doing it, with those who are maybe not so. And you see how they operate, see how they think culturally, how they're different, you know, how they communicate, whether they pride themselves on, companies that have complete focus, others that lose focus and wind up trying to regain it. And, you know, I've learned a lot just through osmosis, really, you know, being 18, 17 years old and starting that journey.
What was your reaction to LeBron James going back to Cleveland? Is that, do you think, important for the league?
Yeah, well, you know, I think it depends how you shape the story, right? I mean, it's like, you know, how you stayed in Miami, there's a great story that you can mold and frame around that, right? You go to Cleveland, there's a way that you can mold, you know, so it really just depends on what his personal truth is. And I think he communicated his truth extremely well and why he decided to go to Cleveland. And that's what you have to stick to. And, you know, for me, it was just very fortunate to be with an organization and, with the owner and now is you know, Jimmy and Jeannie, who are just world class, man, and they pride themselves on taking care of their athletes and trying to build championship teams.
Kobe, one of the things that fascinated me, you have skin in the game. This is so you saved your money. You did well, and then you invested. Any advice for a lot of athletes now coming out who get paid, say, big endorsements, and they seem broke in a couple of years?
Yeah, well, because here's the problem. I mean, once you retire, you don't have that source of income that's coming in, right? So even if you save over a 15-year career, if your spending habits remain the same, eventually that well's going to run dry, right? So unfortunately for us athletes, the retirement age is 32, 34 if you're lucky, 37 like myself. What comes next, right? So the question needs to be, what comes next? What can I do? What is my passion? Not where I can create the most value or generate the most revenue, but what is my next passion? When you find that next passion, everything else will make sense. But that's the hardest part for us.
Now, I know that Scopely uses video games. I think video games are actually the hottest part of technology. And the chips that go into video games make it so it's lifelike. This will be what, like NBA 2K for some TV shows that have characters?
It could be.
Absolutely.
Absolutely could be.
Are you getting good at reading balance sheets and income statements?
No, I'm getting better at it, but it is not my strength, right? So for example, when Jeff and I sat around and said, okay, we should do this company, his mind automatically went to operations. Mine went to story, logo, and right. So we just went different ways.
We're a team,
right? Same at the core, but just two different sides of the brain.
I got to ask this: how? Just as a person, I mean, I've idolized you from the days you came out of Lower Merion, okay, from the Aces. How can you be so humble? Honest to God. I mean, listen to what he asked you a question, and you could have said, yeah, I'm getting good at it, but no, you just said, I'm a student.
Yeah,
that's just been your way.
But I mean, but we have to constantly learn. I mean, that's why our mantra is value growth, because to grow, you have to constantly learn. You have to constantly move, constantly improve. I mean, that's the key. That's what makes life fun, I think.
CEO you admire more than others?
CEO I admire more than others. Well, I work very, very closely with Mark Parker, and Mark has been a great mentor of mine for years. I mean, there's times where I can't sleep, and I'll shoot Mark a text message about, I'm having trouble building this company here. What do you think about this, that, and the other? How did you do it? Right. And he gives me very detailed responses. So, MP for me has been
Does he ever sleep? I've shot him an email to try to get Buck because Shoe Dog's such a great book. He comes back at me and he's more raging. I mean, that guy's on his game.
Yeah, he's always thinking. He's a thinker. And what I love doing is cold calling people, getting their book list. What did you read? What did you learn? How did you learn it? Those are the questions.
LeBron's got a new show on our network called Cleveland Hustles.
Yes.
Any advice for him getting into the world of media?
Well, no advice, really. I mean, it sounds like this is something that he loves to do and he's passionate about doing. I mean, that's really the key. You know, if you have the love to do it, you know, you'll be able to handle whatever bumps come your way. So I'm sure it'll be just fine.
I always think that there's two types of players: players who love to win and players who hate to lose. Which one are you?
I'm neither.
Meaning?
I'm neither. Meaning that, you know, I play to figure things out. I play to learn something, right? Because I think if you play with a fear of failure, or you play with the will to win, or that supersedes the fear of failure, I think it's a weakness either way, right? Because if you play with the fear of failing, you'll have the pressure on yourself to play, you know, to capitulate to that fear. If you play with the sense of I want to win, then you have the fear of what happens if you don't. But if you find common ground in the middle, in the center, then it doesn't matter. You're unfazed by either, right? And that enables you to really just stay in the moment, stay connected to it, and not feel anything other than what's in front of you. So, you know, I try to just be dead center.
So a lot of people in general are afraid of failure. How did you become one of those people who doesn't seem to be afraid of failing?
It doesn't exist. It's not existent. What the hell does that mean? Seriously, what does failure mean? It's not. It doesn't exist. It's a figment of your imagination. What does it mean?
You're pulling a Jedi mind trick on me right now. I was like, does it exist?
No, I'm serious. Like, I'm trying to think, like, how can I explain it? So, let's use happy endings, right? And then we can relate this to failure, why it's not existent. Like, you know, everybody talks about, like, everybody wants a happy ending, right? Now let's go to the reality of it, right? Let's look at a fairy tale story. Let's look at Snow White. She gets a happy ending. She finds Prince, whatever. She goes on. She lives happily ever after. Well, I call bullshit on that, because 2 months later, the fact is they had an argument and he's sleeping on the couch. Right? So the point is, the story continues. The story continues. So if you fail on Monday, the only way it's a failure on Monday is if you decide to not progress from that, right? So to me, that's why failure is not existent. Because, you know, if I fail today, okay, I'm gonna learn something from that failure, and I'm gonna try again on Tuesday. And I fail, and I'm gonna try again on Wednesday. So it doesn't exist.
You know what? Should my ratings go in the tank? That's exactly what I'm gonna say to the boss. Hey, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, but you know what?
We should try it again on Thursday.
If your ratings go in the tank, and you know, which they won't, but if they did, you had learned a valuable lesson. You had learned a bunch of ways of how not to make a show that sucks. So then the next one will be better than the last one, right?
So are you telling me then, let's just say all the career statistics that you've compiled, they all still exist, still play for the Lakers, still, and all of that still happens. If you finished your career without a championship, you would not have looked at that as a failure?
No, I would have looked at it as being extremely disappointed, because I had a dream and I had goals that I wanted to accomplish, right? And if I don't accomplish those goals, I have to ask myself why, right? So from my position, the reason why I would not have accomplished those things is poor leadership, failure to communicate properly with my teammates and put them in positions to be successful, lack of preparation. You know, all those things would be reasons why I don't win, right? So now, if that was the case, in my career, I have to sit and I have to analyze that, and then as I move and I evolve, you know, post basketball into business or whatever, those same weaknesses are going to reveal themselves there, right? So if I don't learn from that, I'm going to struggle here too, right? So I can take those situations and learn from those and have them, you know, make me a better person later in life. But if I don't take that stuff and apply that someplace else, then that's failing, which to me is the worst possible thing you could ever have, is to stop and to not learn.
So Kobe has created.
Can you walk us through, like in a 24-hour stretch, the regime you put your body through? I mean, it's intense.
Yeah, well, since I started kind of picking up the training to go through a schedule of my day, I get up at 6 in the morning and I do a training for about an hour or so, from 6 to about 7:15, and take my kids to school, and then go straight to the practice facility and lift weights for about an hour, and then go out on the court, do a little extra shooting for an hour, and then practice starts, and then after practice, do some more shooting, and go back home. And on this particular day, I'd run the track and then come back home and do another recovery therapy session, end the day with an ice bath. So it's a full day.
Not much sleep.
Not much sleep. But then you gotta, you also gotta mix in there, club soccer and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's a full day.
So are you going to wear the new shoes on Friday night?
Yeah, I'll probably be wearing them. We probably won't be on the basketball court playing, but I'll probably be wearing them just lounging around.
What about over the next year? Are you going to be chief recruiter for the Lakers? Are you going to be, making any calls on the team's behalf?
Yeah, well, I'm one of the things that I'm very, it's like a pet peeve of mine, is that I'm very concerned about what's going to happen to the Lakers organization when I step away from the game. Because I don't want them to have any dip whatsoever. I want them to continue to take off and continue to win championships and do what they do. So, absolutely will.
Would you like to be a Nike executive? I was pretty influenced by your presentation.
Well, I mean, in a way, I am. I'm an executive for my own brand of products, and I've learned a great deal from Nike. I think, it's tough for athletes though, because you're asking to wear two hats that contradict each other. So from an athlete's perspective, you have to be passionate about your sport, right? You have to think team first and winning first, right? But then when you have to put on the business hat, then you get the public backlash of being a business mind, of being a business person. And, for whatever reason, I think athletes have become a little reluctant to actually do business things and to make business decisions because of that.
Michael Jordan recently made some headlines for saying, I could put together a team of 5 guys to have some fun on the court. Here's over history who I'd pick. Can we ask Kobe Bryant the same question?
It's tough because I'm liable to pick the same group that he picked. That's not a bad group. I'll do Magic, myself, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Larry Bird. Thank you. And it's thank you. It's amazing to be standing here alongside Abby and Peyton. And Abby decided to retire after a compelling World Cup victory. And Peyton hung up his cleats after yet another Super Bowl win. And so for me, I tend to do things a little differently. So I felt an impressive 17 for 65 season would be a bold statement to wrap up my 20-year career. In all seriousness, I have a lot of respect for these two. And we grew up in our sports together, and I know the sacrifices that went along with standing here today. And we're not on this stage just because of talent or ability. We're up here because of 4 a.m. We're up here because of 2-a-days. We're 5-a-days. We're up here because we had a dream and let nothing stand in our way. If anything tried to bring us down, we used it to make us stronger. We were never satisfied, never finished, will never be retired. My high school English teacher, Mr. Fisk, I actually paid attention one time in class, and he said, he had this beautiful quote, and it read, "Rest at the end, not in the middle." And I took that to heart. I believe there's time for resting at the end, but for me, that time is not now. Thank you for this tremendous honor in acknowledging my basketball career, but I'm far from done. My next dream is to be honored one day for inspiring the next generation of athletes to have a dream, sacrifice for it, and never, ever rest in the middle. Thank you to my wonderful family, my wife, our daughter Natalia and Gianna, and thank you guys. Thank you.
Once upon a time, there was a young basketball player who had dreams of becoming one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
My name is Kobe Bryant. I'm 17 years old. With the hunger, the motivation, and a desire to be the best possible basketball player that I could be.
He worked day and night, every day, for years and years and years and years and years. As time went on, 20 years had passed, and he felt that he had accomplished all that he set out to accomplish. But what he come to realize is that the goal that he set out initially of becoming the greatest of all time
was a very fickle one. And when he realized that the most important thing in life is how your career moves and touches those around you and how it carries forward to the next generation. But he realized that's what makes true greatness. The story would be about transformation of a kid looking inwardly to then growing up and understanding the importance and the power is looking outward. It's a great feeling to know that you set a goal for yourself and you were able to reach that goal and to knock it down. If I had the power to turn back time, I would never use it. I don't think about it. Because then every moment that you go through means absolutely nothing, but you can always go back and do it again. So it loses its flavor, it loses its beauty. When things are final and you know the moments won't ever come again. To be able to have the power to go back and re-experience those things it's silly to me.
When you take that jersey off at the final time, how do you think you're gonna feel?
Very at peace with it, and I'm very thankful, for the 20 years that I've had, and ready to go. Confidence to say, okay, it's okay to fail because you're going to be loved no matter what. And that doesn't just mean basketball. It means anything in life. That means writing. That means being an entrepreneur. That means having the confidence to go for it. And I've seen too many parents do the exact opposite. And it terrifies children. And children become paralyzed by their own fear because they don't have that security blanket of love and comfort. After watching that film, I come to understand if I could work that hard every day, with being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself on that day that I was going to work that hard every single day so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but if you live your life to just get better every single day, and do that for 20 years, what do you have? Can I look inside and say, okay, what was the genesis for me? Who inspired me to get to this point? When I face adversity and I look at it as a challenge or an opportunity, where did that come from? Who did I learn that from? And that's what this film is really about. And it's about a kid somewhere seeing the film and being inspired by the film to be able to have muses of his own. That's really what it's about.
What is this Kobe process? You'll pick up the phone, you'll call people who are leaders in industry, and you just pick their brain?
Exactly. That's exact. I just cold call people. Absolutely. I just cold call people and just pick their brain about stuff. And, some of the questions that I'll ask will seem really, really simple and stupid, quite honestly, for them. But if I don't know, I don't know. I have to ask. And so I'll just do that. I'll just ask questions, and I want to learn more about how they build their business, or how they run their companies, and how they see the world. And
so who are some of the people that you pick up the phone and call?
We just started the Nike family. I cold call Mark Parker all the time. Johnny Ives, Dan Wyden, Oprah Winfrey, recently Ariana Huffington, and list goes on and on and on and on and on. Hillary Swank. It just goes on.
Take Johnny Ive.
Yeah.
You guys have you have a conversation and...
Yeah, well, I want to know, he's obviously unique in what he does. Why? How does he view product? How does he view the process of designing product? How does he know that he has the product exactly where he wants it to be? How do you know those things? You know, how is he seeing the world differently than everybody else who's manufacturing hardware? Because there's something going on from the moment that he sees something to when it goes into his brain. That's a different process than other designers. I'm curious to know what that is.
And you went to Apple to
I did, yeah.
spend some time there?
Yeah, went up to Apple, spent the day there, talking with Johnny and just kind of picking his brain about product and things like that, and you know, what makes them who they are, and why. You know, very, very curious about that and understanding that. And I think once you have the passion, the thing that you're passionate about now, you can look at other people or other entities or other things or works of art, and you can draw things from that to help you be better at what you do by looking for those common denominators. Johnny wanted to know, how do I prepare? How do I prepare? How do I study? How do I view the game? How do you build your game? And you know, my response is much like the way he builds products. You know, you think sequentially. You know, yeah, you look at this, the end result of what you want to create, but in order to create that, there's so many other little things that go into this massive entity or device. And it's no different than building my basketball game. You start with, what do you want your game to be? What would make your game most unstoppable or hard to deal with? And now you work backwards from there. And you start building it one piece at a time, one move at a time, one counter at a time. So there's a lot of similarities there.
My schoolwork, and then watch a bunch of game film and games on TV and study film.
Was that the only thing you've been obsessed about, basketball?
Well, until recently, yeah. Basketball has dominated, you know, my entire life for more than 30 years.
When I brought it up, like, is it genetic or you just learned it? I mean, how did that idea even come up? Because that's obviously a pillar of Mamba Mentality, the obsessiveness. This is just, like you said, I'm gonna get up at 4, everybody's get up at 6. If everybody's gonna get up at 4, I'm gonna get up at 2. Right? How do you develop that, or where do you learn that from?
Well, I think it's just, you know, it's just a matter of what's important to you. And what's important to you. For whatever reason, you know, I felt like I didn't feel good about myself if I wasn't doing everything I could to be the best version of myself. If I felt like I left anything on the table, it would eat away at me. I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror. Right? So the reason why I can retire now and be completely comfortable about it, because I know that I've done everything I could to be the best basketball player I could be.
How have you dealt with winning? Like, when you win, what goes through your mind to help you to continue winning?
Well, it's a little different. Like in basketball, it was different because, you know, I expected to win. You know, like I expected us to win championships. I expected us to win 5. Quite honestly, I expected us to win 8. And so when you have that vision in sports, it's a direct competition. Like, I know how hard they're working. I know how hard we're working. I know what their strategy is. I know what ours is, you know? So it's a little different. So when we went in the NBA, it was like, yeah, we expected to do that. But now we're going to come back and we're going to do it again, you know? And so it's that constant, like, all right, you're churning. You win one championship, I'm back in the gym the next day, working, getting ready for the next one. Now, it's different because it's not about the awards. You know, you just wind up trying to create something that's going to inspire someone that hopefully, you know, through that inspiration, they can inspire somebody else. And what I've come to learn as my career went on is that's more significant than any championship. Is how do you connect with somebody that can then connect with another? And then with whether the awards come or not, you know, that's for, you know, the Academy Award. Body to decide. But, you know, like for us, it's just to try to create things.
Yeah. Well, I guess now that's what shifted, that now the intention isn't even expecting to win, it's expecting to change lives.
Right.
Right? Like, your content is really about making a difference and an impact on young people's lives.
Sure.
Which I think is like the biggest way of winning.
I think so. I mean, you know, you're looking at 62% of young children are dropping out of sports. 62%. And they cite the fact that it's not fun anymore. But what does that tell them? I mean, that's telling us as grown-ups are getting in the way.
get out the way. Let these kids be imaginative, which, you know, like in our stories, it's important that, yeah, there's a fantasy nature to it, right? But it's rooted in reality, right? When we have fire-breathing winged horses and things of that nature, those are actual drills that are taking place. We don't have fire-breathing winged horses actually performing that, but we do have ball machines that are spitting balls at tennis players, right? And so all of our stories are all anchored in an element of truth.